Welcome back to the Ingaged Podcast. I'm your host, Pam Torrey, and today we're joined by Jennifer Lau-Hatcher, an industry insider who knows exactly what's happening on the ground in home improvement right now. Jenn works closely with contractors across the country and has a sharp eye on what's driving growth, what's slowing teams down, and where financing fits into the big picture. If you caught our recent webinar, you know we barely scratched the surface on how financing is evolving in 2025. Today, we're keeping that conversation going, from how homeowners are thinking about their money this year to how contractors can use financing as more than just a payment option. Plus, Jenn shares what she's seeing from top performing teams and the one trend she thinks everyone should be paying attention to as we head into summer. Let's dive in. Jenn, I am so excited to have you here with us today.
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, Jenn, I just got done recording a webinar with your other half. I don't know that he would allow me to call him your better half.
Definitely.
Your other half. And we were talking all about financial health and business. And I really wanted to have you on because you have such a rich background in finance as well as home improvement. So for those who don't know you yet, can you give us a quick snapshot of your background and what you're focused on these days in the home improvement space?
Absolutely. I will try to make my background brief because it's very long. Short version, I found the value of financing when I was selling educational programs in my early mid-20s, and families were trying to decide how to get these programs they needed for their kiddos and how to make their monthly budget work. And so that was really my introduction to financing, was helping families afford educational programs that were anywhere from, $3,000 to $25,000 and making it fit into a monthly budget. I don't think you even know that part. So after
I do.
So that's where I found the value. After that, I did go work at one of the biggest banks here in our country for almost 9 years. And I was in charge of dealer training. And then I was in charge of building out strategic programs to help contractors and actually providers use more financing to help patients, and in the case of contractors, homeowners, get exactly what they need. From there, I went to a couple fintechs to stand up some new programs, and then became a founder of my own company. And today I am the co-founder of One and Fund, and we recently merged with One Click Contractor.
Yeah, that was big news. I feel like you probably have a lot going on in the home improvement space. Can you talk a little bit about, what is going on the front lines of this industry right now? I mean, you guys have your ear to the ground. You're talking to a lot of contractors. I also know you and Justin hit the conference circuit a lot.
We do.
What's the vibe out there? And are you seeing any big shifts or trends that are really standing out to you?
Ooh, I love this question. And I am grateful for the trust that our partners, contractors, dealers, I use all of those words interchangeably. I'm very grateful for the trust and candid conversations that they have with us. So I'll do my best to summarize it in an eloquent way. Let me start with homeowners. Homeowners right now, today, 2025, are cautiously optimistic. Okay. So what do I mean by that? I mean, they're being more intentional with their purchases, and it's a little bit less of the dream project right now and a little bit more of what's causing the most impact in my daily life and my daily routine for my family. So homeowners are still doing projects. They're just being a little more selective with it. On the contractor side, there is that real appetite that continues to help homeowners get the projects they want or need right now. There's also a huge trend that's been gaining momentum for a while to consolidate one's tech stack. And we can dive into that more. But basically, how are we simplifying our sales process? How are we shortening up that sales cycle? How are we making it easy for our designers, consultants, reps, whatever we call them, when they're in the field and they're trying to help that homeowner get their project? Like, how are we making it easy for both of them? And one of the things that we see is that the companies that are really leaning into the digital tools and obviously financing integration are the ones that are doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see kind of a parallel going on right now to what I didn't personally see this. I was in college when all of this happened, but what I've heard happened in this industry during the Great Recession back in 2008, 2009, which was where a lot of the businesses that really like thrived and survived and went on to become the behemoths of the industry today are the ones that really put time and effort and energy into their tech stack, into the way that they built out the basics of their business, into the way that they worked with their homeowners to help them figure out what their project looks like right now versus, that potential dream, to help them get into something that worked for them. And I'm seeing a lot of parallels here with what I heard happened back then. I was not here. I was in college. Yeah, I am seeing a lot of parallels there. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, especially because we are not in a recession at this moment in time. We are existing in a space of just like economic uncertainty. But I think a lot of people took best practices from that era and are applying them now so that they can succeed.
You're absolutely right. Last year in 2024, you and I were on some webinars together where I talked a lot about back to basics, right?
Yeah.
We've come off of that COVID high and then we've had the rebound. And so last year was really about getting back to basics and doing the foundational things you need to do. And now it's really about preparing and driving forward with your business. We've got our basics, and how are we building on those very basics?
So let's talk a little bit about money, everybody's favorite subject, the subject that sends people running from the room usually, but I know you love to chat about this because you are an expert. What role is financing playing in how homeowners make decisions in 2025? How are homeowners thinking about financing when it comes to their projects?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to say that financing is everybody's favorite F word. It's that love to hate word, right? And I'm saying that from more of a contractor perspective, but every single time I'm on stage, you will hear me say that. It's one of the very first things that I say. So for the homeowner today in 2025, though, we talk a lot about generations. We talk a lot about who's buying what. People are staying in their homes longer and things like that. So financing is no longer a nice to have. It's expected. As consumers, we are expecting those payment options. You can't go on to Amazon and buy something for over $45 without being offered payment options. Your cell phone, your car, everywhere you go and everything you touch has those payment options. And so with financing and homeowners, it's less of a how can I afford this? And it's more of a how can I optimize or maximize my budget? How can I maximize my budget? So the contractors who are really talking about monthly payment options, who are coming in and they're confident, they're talking about options early and transparently. It's building a lot of confidence, and we're going to come back to this confidence because it's really important. But it's all about that. It's helping that homeowner feel confident that they can maximize their budget, and again, they can get that project they want or need now, and they're not going to sit and wait to save up for it. And we're taking out that excuse that is always the excuse or objection. That's one of our favorite words in this industry, right?
Oh, yes.
The objection of money.
Yeah, I definitely see that contractors are encountering homeowners who are more used to installments whether a homeowner considers that to be financing or not, that's a whole nother category. But I think a lot of people are just used to seeing like Afterpay and Klarna available for everything that they purchase. And I think part of it is about just like preserving cash flow. Like people, I think, are really cognizant of when they're getting paid, how much they're getting paid, what's sitting in their bank accounts. And it's like, do I want to blow all of my money on this project that needs to be done if I can get a reasonable financing rate, if I can get a reasonable installment option? Like, do I want to give all of my cash to this person, or does it make more sense to, spread those payments out?
Financing is really that sales accelerator. It is a sales enablement tool that often gets forgotten as an accelerator or enablement tool, because it does help sell more projects, lower cancellation rates. You're getting bigger projects on the books. It's all the things that contractors want, but some are still scared of that F word.
So when a contractor walks into a home, are you finding that homeowners are more educated about the financing options available right now? Or are you seeing that contractors are really having to do that like baseline education around what financing could mean for them?
Ooh, okay. This is one of my favorite questions because the answer is a little bit gray. And I know we don't love gray, but the truth is the answer is a little bit gray because some homeowners are doing a lot of homework. Mm-hmm. Some homeowners are not. Before a contractor even walks into a home, the average homeowner has already scoped out them and 2 other companies. They are typically researching about 3 companies before you're even showing up. And so that would be one where, if you don't have financing or payment options at least mentioned on your website, I would get your team working on that real fast. Because again, they're doing their homework. And they might not know exactly what their options are. And your team does not have to be finance experts. That's one of the things that we have had as a challenge in this industry over time is people, again, don't love the F word because they feel like they need to know every single detail. You don't need to know every single detail. You do need to offer financing to every customer every time because that's fair lending. And you need to let them know what their options are. Giving them education in terms of here are your options in a simple way and helping them through a simple process with a simple application so we know what they're eligible for. That's what the job is today. And like I said, my answer is a little gray because it's yes, some of them have done homework. And yes, you're going to need to tell them their options, but it's really all about that point of sale experience. You want to give them an exceptional experience. And I mentioned confidence again. It's all about the confidence.
Yeah, I think that something we often forget is that presenting price, presenting payment options, helping customers have an affordable vision for their project is just as much a part of the sales training process as teaching them how to present products.
100%.
Like, you have to be able to do it.
100%. It's financing, again, is part of your toolbox. It's not a backup plan.
Mm-hmm. So you talk to contractors all the time, and I feel like you have probably seen the best that is out there and the worst that is out there and everything in between. You kind of seen this from all sides. Can you tell me what the best contractors are doing out there when talking about financing? And then what are some of the most common mistakes that you're seeing?
Yes. Okay. So we'll start with the best.
Yeah, let's start with the good.
Let's start with the good. Always with the good first, right? So the best of the best have normalized offering financing as part of their sales process. What I mean by that is they have a sales process that anybody in their company should be able to access and know what it is, right? That doesn't mean each location is choosing what they want to do and it's something different. It is a normalized process. That's probably a whole different webinar on let's talk about normalizing processes. But for today with financing, it is a normal part of their process. They are training to it in their sales meetings. It's not a topic we run away from. It is a topic we run to. the best companies in the industry today across the US are financing 65% plus of their jobs.
Wow.
Right? So for those who are listening and you weren't sure you heard that correctly, I'm going to say it again. Best practice in the industry today is financing 65% of your jobs. Wow. So if you're not hitting that threshold, there's probably opportunity within your sales process and how it's being normalized that we're offering those payment options. The last piece I want to say on that was process 65% plus. And then when I talk about normalizing process, I mentioned it earlier, I'm going to mention it again. We talk about monthly payment ranges or options, because going back to the last question, consumers today are pretty savvy. And so they're okay using the bank's money for a while, as long as there's no prepayment penalties and some of the other things. When we talk about different plans available, they're okay with that. We need to be okay with it as well. And so talking about monthly payment versus total amount helps normalize and make that feel comfortable as well.
All right, let's talk about the bad.
So on
the ugly.
Right. On the flip side of that, the companies who are struggling with financing don't have a process for it. They're letting each rep do what they want to the level they're comfortable with it. Or like I said, it's not normalized throughout the organization. They also are offering way too many plans. So this is something we don't talk about a ton, but when we have too many options, we see this with our homeowners. We also see this with our reps. It almost becomes a analysis paralysis. We're like, oh, I have 12 different options to choose from. I don't know what to choose. And so we start to go down a rabbit hole that's completely unnecessary. So we want to offer a limited number of plans that fit a couple different buckets of buying styles. We want to talk about it early and often. We want to have it normalized. Here's the other part where companies are struggling, or in some cases straight up failing. They are using it to save the sale. So way at the end, we've price conditioned, we've done all the things. Now we're at the end. We show them that total amount and I had no idea it was going to be that much, because no matter what that number is, your number is always higher than what's in their head every single time. I'm in the industry every day and I had a quote for a deck. Guess what? The quote was higher than I expected. And I talk to decking contractors every single day. So that your number is always going to be higher. Let's not only price condition, but let's get them ready for what that might look like in payments. Because when financing is only introduced at the end, after you've been there 2 hours or however long your appointment is, now at this point, we've introduced FUD, which for those who don't know FUD, it's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I do believe that's a Brian Gottlieb phrase that I'm stealing.
Think so.
I think it's a BG phrase. So
steal from the best.
Right? I'm shamelessly borrowing from the best, but at least I'm giving credit to the author. So now we have FUD of, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was going to be that much. I can't afford that. And now we're trying to save the sale. Now you're scrambling. And as somebody who gets paid based on commission, that is the last way we want to run our appointments. So that would be something that is on the opportunity side of the spectrum.
So you mentioned earlier that financing is a sales enablement tool. You just talked about it there, that we don't want to introduce it to try to come in, slide into home base to save the sale. We want to introduce it earlier. Can you talk about how it really is a strategic sales tool and not just a way for someone to pay?
Yeah, absolutely. When we are introducing financing at the beginning of the conversation, and it can be soft, it doesn't have to be gross, okay? When we're introducing it, there's several ways that can do it. Our team talks a ton about it, of right at the beginning talking about, typically our customers pay in one of these 3 ways. Where do you think you'll fit, or whatever? But when you're bringing it in at the very beginning of the conversation, it becomes a catalyst for the sale, not a crutch. When you're adding on I'm going to choose showers for a second, right? When you're adding on the teak bar or the bench or the whatever, we can talk about that in terms of number of dollars a month. That could be whatever that small nominal amount is, and we can add those things on, and it's not making them go cha-ching, 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 cha-ching in their head. So again, it's a catalyst, not a crutch. When we're strategic about it, we're leveraging it up front, we're transparent, and we're confident with it. Part of your job, nobody likes to hear this, but part of your job, and Brian Elias would say the most important part of your job, is to make it easy for them to buy, right? So if you can't help them figure out how to pay for it, you're not helping make it easy for them to buy. We want to make it easy for them to buy. And I would say deliver that holistic solution. Here's the project you want or need. Here's how easy it's going to be. And, $175 to $200 a month. And here's how fast we can get it done. And you're moving them through to getting their project faster.
Well, Jenn, as we head into the height of summer season, we know this is busy season for most of our customers. I always joke, I'm I can't get anybody on the phone from June to August. Nobody's picking up the phone for us because they're out there, doing the work. They're out there running their businesses, really, being in the height of busy season. Can you tell us one trend that you think folks should be focused on during this crazy time of the year?
Yes. So, team, we all know speed or lack thereof is your friend or your biggest killer of jobs in this industry. Time is the most important thing. And so right now, homeowners aren't just being selective with quality or what projects are going to have that high impact. They're also looking on how to get it done quickly. Now, it's okay to have a healthy backlog. Again, different conversation, but the time factor is big. Not only how fast we can get to do the appointment to begin with, but what, again, going back to that customer experience, what is that customer experience like in the home? Believe it or not, they don't want you in their house for 3 hours. You don't want to be in their house for 3 hours, right?
I do not want you here for that long.
No, nobody does, right? So where we really see those wins are the companies, again, who are leaning into the tools, who can give them faster estimates, faster contracts, faster approvals with financing, and therefore faster decisions and projects on the books. So the goal is to get a yes in one visit, right? If you can't do that and you're still chasing down paperwork, or you have to do this over here, or you forgot your login over here, it's very likely your competitor is going to get that job. But when you are streamlined, when you have an exceptional customer experience, and you can get it all done quickly, efficiently, and I go back to confidently, you own the job. It's on the books, it's done. And when they're happy, let's not forget that you also own the referral of their neighbors and friends and family around them. So that speed and confidence, it's using your digital tools.
Well, Jenn, thank you so much for being with us today. It was great to have you on.
I'm always happy to get talk time with you, Pam, anytime.
Thanks for listening to the Ingaged Podcast. Be sure to visit engaged.io for more information on how to create, share, and measure your way to success. If you love the Ingaged Podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time.